guys, it's Molly and today I'm back with another video. I recently did a poll on my beauty Instagram on whose tutorial I should follow because I really love doing my Kathleen Lights one. If you guys haven't seen that, I will leave a link in the description box. I really liked that video and you know, that trend's still going on right now, so I was like, why not do another and potentially maybe another, I don't know. But in that poll I put Manny MUA and Jaclyn Hill and Jaclyn won, so I'm doing Jaclyn today. Today I'm going to be doing her turquoise, purple, and gold smoky eye. I really liked this because she used a really pretty blue and I normally don't wear lots of color, so I was like, this is literally the perfect time for me to do it. So that's what I'm doing today. I wish you guys could see the amount of products that are laying in front of me right now because there is a lot. She literally used like one palette in the tutorial and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 palettes because I don't own the palette that she used. So there's literally so much products in front of me, but if this is something you guys are interested in, please keep watching. But before we get started, if you're new, make sure to subscribe and hit the little bell next to the subscribe button so you can be notified every time that I upload. I do hauls, unboxings, story times, tutorials, pretty much anything, so if you're into any of that, then definitely subscribe. And without further ado, let's get into following Jaclyn.
Shape Tape concealer, and then I will just go over it with a translucent powder. That's the way I personally prime my eyes.
Okay, so she's priming with Tarte Shape Tape, which I do have. I'm gonna pick a palette to use the mirror for. And normally I would use like an actual primer, but she's using Tarte Shape Tape, so I'm gonna do what Jaclyn says. It's honestly been a while since I've used this, so here we go. I just love how big the doe foot applicator is on this product. So awesome. And then she blends it with a beauty blender. I do know a lot of people use concealer to blend, or use concealer to prime their eyes. I used to do that, and then I found out what primer was. So then I just kind of use primer now, but it's very common for people to use concealer. So I'm not sure what translucent powder she used because she didn't specify, but I'm going to be using the Coty Airspun translucent powder, right? Yeah, because this is the only powder that I really have that's translucent. So I'm gonna use it. It's actually been a while since I've used this too. Oh my god, it literally is getting everywhere. I also just wanted to point out that Jaclyn has been doing makeup a lot longer than I have, and she's a lot more talented than I am. So please don't make fun of me if this looks like shit, because it most likely is going to.
I'm going to be going in with the Colored Rain Queen of Hearts eyeshadow palette today. I believe. Why, God, why? What did I do to deserve it?
Girl, we've all been there.
Get back in that hole. I'm going to start off by going in with these two shades right here, which is Air and Royal Prerogative. Both of these shades are a matte, and I'm going to just put them right here in the lower area of the crease. I'm mixing them together, like I'm dipping my brush in Air and then in Royal Prerogative, and then tapping out the excess, and then going right into this crease area. And I'm using a long-haired natural brush. And as you can see, I'm doing it mainly just on the outer corner, and then once I basically have nothing left on my brush, I'll bring it to the inner corner.
Okay, so I don't have that palette, so I'm going to be using the Lorac Pro palette, and the two shades that seem similar to what she is mixing together is Cream and Taupe. So I'm going to do that. Let me just take a look at the brush she's using again. Okay, she's using a natural hair brush. I'm pretty sure all my brushes are synthetic. I don't know, so I'm just going to use this Moda Pro brush and mix Cream and Taupe together. I'm almost like out of cream, and that makes me really sad. That's usually the shade that I use to set my eyeshadow, but she used a translucent powder, so we're gonna do that. I'm gonna go above my crease because I have hooded eyes. She doesn't, I don't think, yeah, she doesn't have hooded eyes, so I'm gonna go above my crease so that you're able to see. And she is first laying down the color in the outer corner, and then when she said when there's like nothing left on your brush, then you're gonna bring it in.
I'm gonna be using ColourPop Super Shock Shadow in the shade Ibiza. I'm just taking this on a small little fluffy brush. Any brush would honestly do anything just to get that color on the inner corner. I'm just gonna put this on that entire inner corner area.
Okay, so I don't have that ColourPop shadow she used, but this is the most similar one I have. It's from this little LA Colors palette in Shooting Star. I'm going to use obviously the blue shade and just this Coastal Scents. Yeah, Coastal Scents. Why did I second guess myself? Coastal Scents brush, and put it in the inner corner like she did. This is like literally the closest blue I have, so I'm praying it works. I mean, it's definitely not as bright as hers is. Okay, so that's as close as I could get it. Obviously it's not the same blue, so I had to work with what I had, but let's move on.
That turquoise blue in the inner corner, I'm going to pick up the Queen of Hearts palette again, and I'm going to grab Queen Mother, which is this really beautiful shimmery purple shade right here. And I don't normally put shimmery purples in the outer corner of my eye, but today we're just trying new things, y'all. We're trying new things. I'm gonna just pack this on. I am using the exact same brush as I did for the inner corner. I just wiped it off on a paper towel so there was like no loose blue eyeshadow left on it. But I'm just gonna use the same brush, and I'm gonna just pack this on right out on the outer corner.
Okay, so she's using another shade from that palette that she's been using. I don't have that palette, but I'm going to use the palette that Sarah Kay sent me. It's the Urban Decay Shadow Box, I believe. I threw the box away, so I can't. I think that's what it is. And I'm going to use the shade Tornado and use that same brush, I guess. I'm just gonna wipe it off on my leg.
So now I'm going to grab Your Majesty, which is this beautiful shimmery gold right here in the center of the palette. I'm going to use the exact same brush again. I'm just going to pack this over the center and then blend it.
So she's using another shade from that palette. I'm going to use the shade Gold from the Lorac Pro palette, and she again uses the same brush. So I'm going to wipe it on my pants again. And she puts it in the middle of her lid and then blends all of these shades together. Okay, I don't know if this is going well or not.
Just slightly put it over that blue, slightly put it over the purple, just to blend all of that together. Because we don't want it to be too choppy. We don't want it to be like blue, gold, purple. Like we want it to have, you know, kind of like an ombre motion to it. So now I'm going to go back with a little bit more of that matte orange shade on a fluffier brush. I'm going to just take it right over the corners of that purple.
Okay, so I don't even remember her using a matte orange shade because I did not use a matte orange shade. But she's using a matte orange shade, and I'm going to use a Real Gar from the Modern Renaissance palette. And she's kind of putting it on the edge and like softening. Okay, whatever. The edges of everything. So I guess that's what I'm gonna do. She says she used it again, and I'm like, I don't remember her using it, but okay. I think I definitely put a little too much on, but what are you gonna do?
Just to give it more of a pop.
Oh yeah, hers looks a lot more soft.
I don't love the way the outer corner is looking. I'm gonna grab some MAC Deep Damson eyeshadow on a fluffy brush. I'm just gonna pack that over the outer corner of the eye. Just kind of low down here because I just want it to have a little bit more depth.
Okay, so she's using a MAC single shadow. I'm going to be using this Anastasia one in Violet. And she's using a fluffy brush. If I could find one. I mean, I have plenty, but it's like, what one do I want to use, you know? I'm just going to use this one from Glamour Dolls. And I thought this was a mirror. Oh my gosh. And I know now that this shadow is a very pigmented from my Kathleen Lights one. I don't know. I am going to just blend the edges of that Real Gar shade just because I feel like it's not doing well.
Alright, I'm just gonna grab a makeup wipe and just clean up some of this fallout because it is looking really grungy under there.
So then she takes a makeup wipe and cleans up underneath her eyes. and like sharpens the edge of the shadows. So I'm gonna do that. Even though I've been dusting away my fallout, we'll still do it.
I'm taking a totally clean brush and I'm just going to lightly go over this area just to make sure that everything is, of course, blended to fill with no brush lines. I'm gonna pick up just a...
Okay, so she uses a totally clean brush. I don't know if I have a totally clean... Oh, okay, I do. I have this Sigma one. And she's just kind of like going... I could have just waited then. Whatever. She, just goes along the edges. Oh my god, my hair. And make sure everything's just nice and soft. Now let's see what Jaclyn does next.
A little bit of this matte, gorgeous magenta called Ladyship. I honestly don't even know what I'm gonna do with it. I'm just gonna pick a little bit of it up on the brush and see what happens. Because it's so pretty. I'm just gonna kind of like put it in this area. I don't know. I just love it.
Okay, so she is using a magenta shade. The closest I have is Love Letter from the Modern Renaissance palette. So I'm gonna do that, and I guess I'm just gonna take the same Glamour Dolls brush I used and do what she did. Even though, I mean, this looks the same, but we'll see if it looks the same on the eye.
Yes, I love the brush is a little bit more on the dry side, and then that's when you can go and kind of blend it out. Alright, I'm gonna put some mascara on my lashes, and I'm gonna...
Okay, so she goes back in with the gold, because she feels it like disappeared, and she sprays the brush with MAC Fix Plus. So I'm just gonna get a little bit on my brush and spray. I have been loving this. I just have a little mini size, but I've really been enjoying it. So, and then we're gonna put it on her eyes. She starts low and then she works her way up. Okay, that's gorgeous.
Hop on some false ones. You guys do not have to do false lashes for this look. You can totally just curl your lashes and do some mascara, but you know me, I've got to be extra.
Okay, so she applies some mascara and then puts on some false lashes. She says if you don't want to use false lashes, you don't have to. I don't have any, so I'm not going to. I'm just going to combine my Tarte Lights Camera Lashes with the Essence Lash Princess, because alone these like both look like you're wearing false lashes, but together I think they'll really look like it. So I'm gonna start with the Tarte one, and then go in with the Essence one. Wow, I've never like actually combined these mascaras together, but I'm loving it.
I'm gonna prime my face. I'm using this Sisley primer that I keep going back and forth on because it is so expensive and I really don't want to love it from the bottom of my heart, but
Okay, so now she's moving on to her face. If you guys have been watching me for a while, you know that I usually will do my face makeup and then my eyes, but I'm following Jaclyn's tutorial, so she goes right in with primer, but I'm gonna moisturize because I always have to moisturize, like no matter what. My skin's just like super dry, so I'm going to moisturize. And then she goes in with an expensive primer that I don't have, but I do have the Hourglass primer, which is, like, this is just the mini size and it was $19. So I'm gonna need to use it. One thing I did want to say about this primer, if you get the mini size, I don't know if it's the same for the full size, that's all that comes out with one pump, and I have a fat face, so I have to do like 5 pumps to get a decent amount to go on my face. But I mean, that could just be me and, you know, my first world problems. That's not the only primer she uses, but I have to use the Professional primer because I have ginormous pores. She's lucky she has like no pores, so I am going to use the Professional primer real quick.
But I do feel like it is a good primer, but I've been going back and forth between several primers recently because there's a lot of them that I purchased the past couple of months, and this is just one of them. For foundation, I'm going to be using the Dior Skin Forever foundation. Oh my gosh, you guys! I'm sure I'll be raving about this in my favorites video very soon. I'll go way more in depth, but let me just say, wow.
So she's using a very expensive foundation, the Dior Skin. I do not have that, so I'm going to use the Maybelline Matte and Poreless. And she also doesn't use a beauty blender. She uses a brush kind of like this. And I'm going to do it because Jaclyn did it, but I would normally use a beauty blender. just personal preference. Maybe this will change my mind, but I just really like beauty blenders. I hate the brush. Just want to put that out there. I'm just gonna not use it. I'm gonna go in with my beauty blender because not enjoying that at all. So if my face makeup looks a little poopy, I didn't wet my beauty blender because I had full intentions of using the brush, but I cannot, so I used a dry beauty blender. So it's usually something that I don't do, but I do just want to let you guys know that if it looks like shit, that's why. Had to switch over to my phone because my battery is dying, so let me find where I was.
Alright, I'm using some of the Tarte Shape Tape on my under eye area, and then I'll also put it on other areas of the face. I feel like I need a little bit more coverage.
Okay, so I grabbed my setting spray so I can wet my beauty blender, and then I'm going to use the Tarte Shape Tape again. It's been a hot minute since I have used the Tarte Shape Tape on my face. Jaclyn's making me use it, so I'm gonna wet my beauty blender and grab a mirror. I'm also just gonna kind of bounce this on my face real quick, just because, like I said, I use the dry beauty blender. Normally I would use a wet one. Okay, that made it look a little better. So going on with the Tarte Shape Tape under my eyes. The one thing that sucks about using this is there's so much product loaded on this thing, like it's not necessary. I don't think this concealer is my shade at all. I think I got too light of a shade, but what are we gonna do? We're gonna work with what we got. I remember why I haven't used Shape Tape. It's because it's so dry under the eyes. Oh my god. Like, it's literally so freaking dry. Like, my under eyes look like the Sahara Desert right now.
Okay, now for powder, I'm going to go in with the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish Powder. It looks like this, and as I apply it, I pick up a tiny bit at a time, and I just lightly stamp, as you can see, in little pouncing motions.
Okay, I don't have anything by Charlotte Tilbury, so I'm just going to be using NYC Smooth Skin Pressed Face Powder in the shade Naturally Beige. I have hit pan, and I'm so proud of myself. She uses a very large brush. I'm just going to use this one because that's the one I've been using for this powder. She says she picks up a little and then bounces it on the face. So we're going to do that.
I'm going to take the exact same powder but in a shade lighter. I was using shade 2 for my face and this is shade 1. I'm just going to put that right underneath my eye because I do like my under eye area to be just a little bit lighter than the rest of my face. Not a ton, but definitely a little bit.
So I don't have another shade lighter than this powder, but I do have my Manicadar HD Perfecting Powder, which I'm going to use. And look, guys, I'm literally like almost done with this. So I'm going to put this underneath my eyes because I really like, that's pretty much where I put this powder normally anyway, is underneath my eyes, because I just love how it looks. Except not with Tarte Shape Tape because my eyes are so dry.
Alright, let's do these brows.
Okay, so she did her brows real quick and then comes back, so I'm gonna do my brows real quick and come back. Okay, my brows are done. Let's see what Jaclyn does next.
Bold ass brows. Alright, so moving on to the lower lash line, I'm gonna pick up some of that matte orange shade from the palette. I'm gonna start off by just connecting that upper shadow to the lower one. I'm just putting this orange all along the lower lash line.
Okay, so she's taking the orange shade and putting underneath her lash line. So that was Real Gar for me from Modern Renaissance.
Alright, so I'm going to stop about 75% of the way in because I'm going to go back in with that ColourPop blue and I'm going to put that in the lower lash line. Then I just
so now she goes back in with the blue shade underneath the lash line and connects it. I think that's what she said. Hey guys, it's Molly and today I'm back with another video. What?
Alright, I'm gonna grab some more of that MAC Deep Damson, which is that dark purple. I got some in my right eye and it's like starting to it nice and tight.
Okay, so, let me find, okay, right here. She uses a flat shader brush like this with that MAC shade, but for me, the Anastasia purple. And she's pushing this right up against the lower lash line. So now we're gonna go back in with the gold shade and spray it with some MAC Fix Plus and put it underneath, right in the middle of our lower lash line.
I'm gonna bronze my face really quick. I'm gonna be using the ColourPop Topaz Duo. I have just been so in love with this bronzer recently. It's weird,
I forgot my bronzer. So she uses the ColourPop one. I'm gonna use the bronzer from the Tartist Pro Glow palette to bronze. What kind of brush does she use? I missed an entire spot for foundation, so we're gonna ignore that. That did not happen.
I'm going to use some Anastasia Clear Brow Gel to set these brows. I always do this after I...
Okay, so she's setting her brows with Anastasia Clear Brow Gel. I have the Maybelline Great Lash, so that's what I'm using, because I don't think I need to spend $20 on a clear brow gel, but that's just me.
Our Starlit Powder in the shade 13. I'm going to use that to highlight my brow bone real quick.
So the closest I have is this pigment. It's MAC Gold Dusk. I don't think it's the same, but I'm going to use it just because it's the closest thing I have.
I'm going to grab this holographic palette by Kat Von D. First of all, this packaging is so dope. I don't know if you can really see it on camera, but it's so cool. And then all these colors just look like they're really light pastel, but then when they're swatched, they have the most beautiful, oh my god, my nails look so disgusting, that's embarrassing. Seriously.
Okay, so she uses the Kat Von D holographic highlighting palette. I don't have that, so I'm going to use I Dream Greenie from Wet n Wild. Use the brow bone highlight shade. It looks more blue to me, so that's why I'm using it. But she puts this in her inner corner. So I need to find a brush.
I'm going to grab some of the Maybelline Eye Studio Gel Liner in the shade Black is Black onto a little tiny precise brush. And I'm going to line my upper waterline, which looks really creepy. I know the first time.
Okay, so she takes a gel liner and lines her upper waterline. No. I'm going to just use a pencil liner just to do the same thing because that looked really creepy and I would definitely poke my eye out, even though this... I practically poke my eye out with this anyway, so I'm just using what is this? Avon Super Shock. And lining this. It's really hard for me. My eyes start to water. It takes me, I poke my eye out like 5 times.
I'm going to throw some mascara on my lower lash line real quick. Alright, I actually just want to put some of that black liner on my lower lash line as well now that I'm looking. I just want to give it more of a pop, so I'm going to just take the exact same technique using a little tiny liner brush.
Okay, so she's putting the eyeliner underneath her, or in her waterline too, so I'm gonna put it there. And then she puts some mascara underneath her lash line, so I'm just gonna use the Tarte one only underneath my lash line, or for my bottom lashes.
Alright, so for blush, I'm gonna be trying the Kylie Cosmetics blush in the shade X-Rated. It looks like this.
So the closest thing I had to that was MAC Dame. So I'm just gonna apply it like I would normally apply my blush, just cause I don't think there's really any like specific technique to blush.
It's by ColourPop, and what is this? I don't know, I'm pretty sure it's a new collection though because there's a couple of them, but this one has like the bronzy.
Okay, so then she uses a white highlight from ColourPop. I'm going to use NARS Albatross because that's really the only white highlight that I really have. This is like a white gold shift. And I'm going to highlight my face once I find my highlight brush. This is more gold than white, which kind of sucks. But I'm working with what I got, y'all. And then she goes over it with Champagne Pop. I don't have Champagne Pop, so I'm going to use Wet n Wild Precious Petals, because that's like the closest I have to Champagne Pop without it being Champagne Pop. Then she goes in, I'm gonna put my glasses back on because we're done with the eyes, but with Kat Von D bow and arrow. I don't have that, so I'm just gonna use this. This is Sanctuary. Okay, so this is definitely a lot darker than bow and arrow, but it was all I had. And then she just sets her face after, so I'm just gonna set my face real quick. And that is the finished look. I think it actually came out better than I thought it would. As I was doing it, it didn't really like look that good, but I'm gonna get up close and show you guys how it looks. So I definitely don't think it's like an exact match to Jaclyn's, but I think it is pretty close, and I did have a lot of fun doing this. It did take me like an hour to film this though, but I did have a lot of fun, and I hope you guys enjoyed. And if you did, please give this video a humongous thumbs up so I can know. Make sure to subscribe, hit the little bell next to the subscribe button so you can be notified every time that I upload. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or requests, leave them all down below. I'll get to them as soon as I can. All my social media will be linked down below. My Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, and my beauty only Instagram will be linked down below, so make sure to follow me on all of that. Once again, I hope you guys enjoyed. I love my Mollykins, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye guys!